Solomon had a very large army of men, jinn, and birds. Muslims believe that jinn are created beings, both good and bad, that we cannot see. One day he was reviewing this army when he noted that the hoopoe bird was absent without permission. It was the job of the hoopoe to look for water when the army needed it. The bird had been traveling in the country of Sheba, which is modern-day Yemen, and it returned and declared to Solomon, I come to you from Sheba with sure news. I found a woman ruling over the people. She has been given many blessings and has a mighty throne. I found her and her with people worshipping the sun instead of Allah. Solomon was a deeply religious man and was distressed that a whole people should be lost in worshipping the sun rather than the one God who created them. He decided to send a message to the queen, whose name was Belqis, invited her and her people to worship God. Allah, there is no God but He, Lord of the throne supreme, Solomon said. Soon shall we see whether thou hast told the truth or lied. Go thou with this letter of mine and deliver it to them. Belqis too was a wise ruler, and when she received the letter she was suspicious that Solomon really wanted to control her territory. She decided to send him gifts and to see what his reaction to her splendid gifts would be. In this way, she would know if Solomon was only really interested in wealth. Belqis was impressed by Solomon's reaction. Not only was he not interested in her gifts of gold and jewels, but he was actually quite offended to receive them. The belief in God was better to him than precious jewels. Will you give me abundance in wealth? But that which Allah has given me is better than that which He has given you. The queen of Sheba decided to travel to Solomon to see with her own eyes the one who had sent a message to her. Traveling a long distance with her courtiers, she eventually arrived to the court of Solomon. Belqis was known to have a magnificent throne, and one of the jinn offered to Solomon to bring this throne before he could have time to stand up. Another wise man at the court offered to bring the throne to him within the blinking of an eye, and sure enough the throne of Sheba was transported to him, so that it was waiting for her in disguise when she arrived. So when she arrived, she was asked, Is this thy throne? She said, It seems the same, and knowledge was bestowed on us in advance of this, and we have submitted to Allah. Having recognized her throne and recognized also the wisdom of Solomon, Belqis entered the magnificent palace. Its floor was made of shimmering glass which shined like water, and the queen, thinking it to be real water, lifted her skirts so that she would not get wet, which must have been very undignified for a queen, especially when Solomon told her, This is but a place paved smooth with slabs of glass. The story of the Queen of Sheba's visit to Solomon has a very beautiful ending. The queen declares, O my lord, I have indeed wronged my soul. I do not submit in Islam with Solomon to the Lord of the worlds. What are the lessons we can understand from this story? This story is told in great detail in the Quran, which surely tells us that it is important and that it has something to teach. So what then we can learn from the story of Solomon and the Queen of Sheba? Well, first of all, we know the queen's reaction when she is first told about Islam. She suspects a trick. When the messenger arrives with the message of Solomon, she doubts the true intentions of Solomon. Surely, she thinks no one can be telling me about God just for my own sake. There must be a hidden agenda. Isn't that the reaction some of us have when we hear the words of God being spoken? Why are they inviting me to learn about Islam? What are they really after? In a world given over to greed and acquiring more, often at the expense of someone else, it seems rather odd that people would invite us to learn about Islam for no other reason than for the sake of conveying the message. And yet, Prophet Solomon's invitation had no ulterior motive. He only wanted what was best for Belqis, and what was best for her was to abandon the worship of the sun and the moon and the stars, and to worship instead the one who created the heavens and the earth and everything in between. Another lesson from this story is the reaction of Solomon to being offered gifts. What use are gold and jewels to him, he says, when he has been given everything he could want by believing in God? This might seem strange to those who are not Muslims, but for the devout Muslim, the sincere believer, the gift of Islam is greater than any amount of gold and silver. And finally, the response of Queen of Sheba to all of this is quite simple. She submits to God and to Islam. Islam is an Arabic word which comes from root word meaning both peace and submission. Belqis finds peace in her heart when she submits to God. It is such a simple thing to do, yet for many it is one of the most difficult. The story of the visit to Solomon by the Queen of Sheba is meant to teach us that submitting to God is richer than silver or gold and better than splendor or wealth. In the final part of this account of the life of Prophet Solomon, peace be upon him, we shall see how he was gifted with the ability to talk to animals and birds, and we shall see what the message can teach us today. From Discovering Islam Archive, Part 1 by Idris Tawfiq.